Hello everybody. This is the video tutorial of how to use Apple Pages to make a yearbook page. Now, the first thing that you want to do is make sure that you've collected the pictures you might want to use on your page and just have them sitting nearby somewhere that you can easily access them. Then, when you're ready, go ahead and load up Pages. And you'll be brought to this first screen where you can either choose a blank document or choose from one of the templates that are provided. And if you want to get this done in just a couple of minutes, I will show you how to just grab a quick template, one that already has a couple of pictures on it, and use that to make a page in less than 5 minutes. So I'm going to choose this one. And for those of you that want to start from scratch, just hold on and we'll get there. But you can watch this because it'll have some of the techniques already there. So here we've got a template. It is a 8.5 by 11 sized page, and you see there are all these generic photos here and a little bit of words. So what we'll do is we'll just drop in our own pictures into those little photo slots. So this right here, you can click here and find your photos, but it only works if your photos are sort of saved in the photo section of your computer. I have mine in a separate folder, so I'm just going to open that folder and drop in the pictures I want to use. So here I'm making a yearbook page for Joey, and it's pretty easy. I'm just dragging and dropping. And what will eventually happen is you'll drop in a picture and it won't quite fit in the box that you dropped it into. And that's quite alright. So this is how you would now edit these boxes or edit the pictures inside them. If you click on a box, what will happen is you'll see these little white squares come up around it. And if I were to go to the corner or go to a side and click and drag, I'm going to edit that whole box. So the whole box is going to move together, and that can kind of mess up the organization of your template. So I'm going to undo that. But if you now instead double click on your picture, you have these little black squares appear. And what you could do now is either crop your image by clicking on a side and dragging it in, and also use the little white glove to move your picture around and recenter it if you want. And you can also make your picture larger or smaller. So right now you see the white squares have appeared, but they're not in the box, they're further out. So if I click on them now, they are going to reposition the picture inside that box, and it won't ever go outside the edge of the box that is there. You can also use this device over here to make it larger or smaller. Good. Once I've done that, I'm going to click on this one, do the same thing, double click it. So I've got the black squares. I'm going to enlarge the picture here. I'm going to drag it so it looks good, and done. Do the same thing down here, drag a picture in here. And now I'm going to want to make this one a little bit bigger, but I have a bit of a problem. I've got some words I don't want. I can delete those. And my problem is that when I click on this green box, notice how where there are normally squares, we have these little X's. And that's because this is locked into place. I'm not allowed to edit this. But it's easy to fix. If I double click on this box, there is an unlock option. And once I click that, now I've got the white squares there again. So I'm going to first drop in my picture here. Whoa, it's big. So I'm going to make it smaller, position it in the box. But then I'm going to double click until I get those black squares, and I'm going to make this a bit smaller so that I can now make this picture a bit bigger. Good. So now I've got all my pictures on the page. All I need to do is add my name. This is a senior page. You have to have your name on it. If you're making this page for if you're a parent, you're making this for a student, you can add a message, you can put their name, you can pretty much do whatever you want. Great, I'm going to center it. Whoa, too big. Center it. I can change my color if I want to. I've got all the options right over here to do anything I want. Perfect. And there we go. We've got a page. Only thing left to do now is to save. Give it a name. Joey's page. Now, however, even though I saved this document, this is not the document you would be sending in to Yearbook. You actually need to make this into a PDF for it to be added to the book, a PDF or a JPEG, but PDF is much easier. If you go to File, Export to, PDF, it'll come up and ask you about the image quality. You want the best quality because you want it to look good in the book. And boom, there's my PDF. I can send this in and I'm done. So that's the easy version. The other way we can do this is to start from scratch. We don't need this template. We can make our own, and I'll show you how to do that now. So I'll choose the blank document this time. I can keep a white background, or if I wanted to, I could add a square in, make it any color I want, and I could go to Arrange, and I could position that square so that it's right up at the top corner, and then I can make that square 8.5 by 11, so it's the size of a sheet of paper, and that will now be my background. I'm also going to make sure it will stay on page. I'm going to click None here for text wrap, so the text is not wrapping around it. And if I go back to style now, I've got this on color fill, and I can choose whichever color I like. Right. So now, what I'll do is kind of make my own template. I can add, again, going into the shape thing, I can grab a square and put it wherever I want and make it the size I want, and then when I'm ready I could drop a picture right into that square. And it might do this where the picture is way too big for the size of the square, but you can just shrink that down and position it where you want it in the square, and you're good to go. And it works with a square, but you could also do this with any other shape on here. Some students make a circle. Now if I take the circle and I want to make it bigger, it is easy to sort of lose the shape of the circle. So if you want to avoid that, just click Shift as you resize this, and it will maintain that nice even shape. So if I use a circle, same thing happens. I can drop my picture in, boom, reposition it, it's good to go, and I can move it wherever I want it. So yeah, you could drop in a couple pictures like this. When you're ready, go ahead and make a text box and just write your name. Give it the font you want and the size. Maybe I'll make this even longer. And you could drag that and put that wherever you want it. So once you've added a couple pictures and you've arranged them the way you want, it's the same exact way to end it. You save it first, but once it's saved, go ahead and export it to PDF. Make it sure it's the best quality. and export it. All right. If you have any questions, let me know. And I'll show you one last thing before I go. For some reason, this doesn't really work with a background, so I'm going to delete the background when I do it. But if you don't want to make the boxes and drop your pictures in, if you want to drop them directly in, you can. Just drop it in, and when you're editing it, it's the same thing. You can double click it, and then you have the option to crop that box to whatever size you want. So if I want to crop out the top and bottom here, I can. Good. And then you can also sort of position things front and back. If you go to the Arrange selection over on the side, I can send this back so it's behind the other pictures and behind the words, or bring it back front. All right. If you have any questions, let a yearbook editor know or send me an email, and I hope this was helpful.